3 Perth men have been identified as the victims of a bushfire tragedy on the goldfields. Their trucks were caught in a fire trap after they were cleared to pass through a roadblock. They died on Great Eastern Highway, 60 kilometres west of Kalgoorlie, as they tried to make it to Southern Cross. Fire authorities knew a wind change would push the fire back towards the highway, but thought there was enough time for 15 vehicles to make it through safely.
There was no escape from this road train. 2 men died here. Their bodies are still inside what remains of the cabin. Police have revealed that the men managed to turn the truck around in an attempt to escape the flames, but they didn't make it. At first it was thought the pair were father and son, but both were adults, one 46, one 43. Both were from the northern suburb of Two Rocks. They were not related. A third Perth truck driver died in this wreck just 50 metres from the road train. The 53-year-old was from the foothills suburb of Hovia. 500 metres down the road, a second road train still burns almost 24 hours after it was engulfed by a bushfire. There's nothing left of the cabin, but incredibly the driver escaped with only burns to his hands. The trucks were among 15 vehicles allowed through a roadblock at Kalgoorlie at around 8 o'clock last night. The roadblock was manned by police and main roads, but under the authority of the Department of Environment and Conservation. The road had been opened and closed throughout the day as the DEC fought a bushfire that started on Friday afternoon. Last night at 8 o'clock, the wind was taking the fire away from Great Eastern Highway. It was expected to turn back an hour later at 9 o'clock. The DEC decided that was enough time for 15 waiting vehicles to get through. Truck drivers who escaped the fire trap were left numb, shocked, angry.
We shouldn't have been out there. The road should never have been open.
Some idiot down here that said the road's open and go, not on. Should be something done about the whole situation.
Police had been escorting traffic along the highway throughout the day. On one of their last trips, they could not make the return journey. Today, this 3-kilometre section of Great Eastern Highway was the scene of a big police forensic investigation. Forensics officer Steve Bedell surveyed the damage from the 7 News helicopter. This afternoon, the fire was still burning. It's burnt through at least 10,000 hectares and is now being fought by 90 firefighters. It was started by what firefighters describe as unnatural causes, possibly accidental. One theory, it was an abandoned campfire. Arson squad detectives have also joined the investigation. One truckie told how he thought he too would die in the flames.
I was on my own for about 20 minutes with my airline, my scarf, Coca-Cola, just pouring it over my head, sucking in air as much as I could. I'm just lucky my tanks didn't blow. I mean, there's 2 other trucks out there, there's 6 trailers out there. The one in front of me blew up, the one behind me blew up.
Today, the Premier, the head of the Environment and Conservation Department, the acting police commissioner and the main roads boss all faced the cameras, but there were no real answers.
And clearly, with the benefit of hindsight, in this case, we shouldn't have opened the road.
You can't always predict the weather accurately, nor can you accurately predict direction of fires.
The Premier offered support for a coronial inquiry so the victims' families and the public could find out what went wrong.
I can't imagine a worse circumstance to befall people than what has happened.
Communications broken down. Someone was told to allow the traffic boys to lift the cones off and allow us through. I want to know where was our escort and who was actually in charge.
Great Eastern Highway is still closed tonight between Kalgoorlie and Southern Cross. 7 News reporter Mark Gibson joins us live at the police roadblock at Kalgoorlie. Mark, how has the town reacted to this tragedy?
Paula, there's obviously a lot of anger here in Kalgoorlie tonight as people demand to know why these truck drivers were allowed to pass this roadblock and into a deadly inferno. The road's closed again now, but it was about this time last night that the decision was being made to reopen the highway and to let them in, a decision we now know was a wrong one.
And Mark, when will the highway be reopened?
Paula, there's a lot to be done. Tonight, police have the awful task of removing the bodies from the wreckage. Then tomorrow, the trucks will be removed from the highway. The road itself and the power lines all have to be fixed. It's looking like at least Wednesday before the Great Eastern Highway will be reopened. In the meantime, if you're travelling from Perth to Kalgoorlie, there are alternative routes for trucks and for cars. Both of them take you via Esperance and back up to Kalgoorlie. For trucks, it adds another 250 kilometres to your journey, and for cars, an extra 160 kilometres. And as I say, it could be Wednesday before the Great Eastern Highway is reopened. From Kalgoorlie, it's back to you.
Thanks, Mark. We're about to show you exclusive pictures now from within the inferno. The footage was captured by a camera mounted in one of the trucks, one that made it through safely. The truck driver says it's lucky more lives weren't lost. Grant Taylor reports.
The pictures you're looking at were taken through the windscreen of Perth truckie Jack Borg's prime mover. A tiny web camera mounted on the dashboard captures the moment Jack is forced to power through a 10-metre high wall of flames. Jack has no choice but to keep going forward. He couldn't turn around because the trailers he's towing are so big. Like dozens of other truckies, Jack was told this road was safe. The pictures were captured about 8:30 last night, almost at the exact spot where the bodies of the 3 Perth truckies were found.
It went right over the top of me, I was driving through fire, through flames.
What are you thinking?
I hope there's nothing in front of me, just stopped. The only thing that concerned me was anything stopped in front of me, I was dead.
Jack Borg knew 2 of the truckies. He believes the death toll could have been much higher. Jack's a former bush firefighter. He says he's never seen flames so intense. Jack also managed to save a life last night. The burning patches you can see on the road are melted rubber from a truck travelling in front of him. It's not long before that truck breaks down. Jack stops alongside him. You can hear on the tape him shouting at the other driver to jump in.
Come on, matey, jump in. If I didn't stop for him, he would have went up with the truck.
Jack believes truckies were put at risk unnecessarily, and he says it's clear the road was opened way too soon.
We should have been stopped at Kalgoorlie, not let go.
And today, the head of the Department of Environment and Conservation revealed that the man who made the decision to reopen the road, a Kalgoorlie-based incident controller, is struggling to come to terms with the tragedy.
He's obviously very concerned and very upset by what's happened, but I've spoken to him in our Kalgoorlie office this morning.
Grant Taylor, 7 News.